Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Welcome back. Today we are going to check out this. I keep telling you about this kind of planting method that I'm trying out, and it has to do with like these little plugs that I found on Amazon. I found it when I was looking because I wanted to get some smaller trays, like 6 spot trays. I love planting in solo cups, but I wanted to get some smaller something for planting into my straw bales. So that's how I stumbled on this thing. I think they're called like rapid starters or something. I'll show you here in just a minute what it looks like. So we're gonna check those out, and so I kind of show you what they look like when I started, and then I did a little comparison, and then I'll show you what that looks like. But before we get into that, I do want to tell you that I found just a little bit of relief in the whole deal with the mosquitoes, or mosquatos is what I call them sometimes. So I was breaking down. I went to Target, and like obviously I'm not the only person having a mosquito problem. So there was like nothing there, except for like the most powerful off in the world, and full of DEET. So and one of you mentioned to me something about off having kind of a plant-based blend. So I saw the sticker, but there was none there. Then that took me on a journey to Walmart, and again I did find more off there, but I also found these little bands. These are actually made by I'm gonna go grab it for you real quick. Okay, so these are made by a brand called Buggy Beds. So it's a mosquito repellent band, and so it says it's child friendly, plant-based, and one size fits all. So I got four pink ones, because I figured my whole theory at the time too, it was so selfish, is I was gonna put one on each wrist and one on each ankle, and I was gonna see what happened in the world. And really, I'll be honest with you, I did buy some off because I'm at my end. Okay, so I got some as backup. So I came home, and first I tested out the patio, and I didn't actually end up putting on all four of them. I put one on this hand, and I put one on my right ankle, and so it was good on the patio. And then the second big thing was to water. So I watered, and that was good. So overall, I would say that they're about 90% effective. And I say that because there's been a couple instances where I did maybe get 1 or 2 bites. So it's not perfect. Having a fan on still helps. And something I noticed is that our dryer vent like weirdly comes directly into the patio. So if the dryer's on, there's like hot air blowing on at the patio. Eventually we'll redirect that somehow. But I noticed that when that was coming through and I was sitting on the patio, that it was almost kind of blocking my little smell shield or whatever this bracelet is creating. So I just went inside. Not gonna do that. And then I noticed that we were out front practicing football with the girls. One of the girls just started flag football, the youngest, Josie. So we're all out there practicing. Well, no, I'm sitting. I'm sitting. And so I noticed that like right there at that perfect time when the mosquitoes are out, it felt like some of us were getting tagged last night. Everybody just had one on. But once we got in, we didn't really have any bites. So I'm going to try and go. I'm not going to tell you where because they're at some Walmarts. And there's some different brands, obviously, on Amazon. So I want to buy about 20 more. And then you guys are going to go buy some. But this is something that you might check out. Like I said, it's working for me right now. And, of course, I'm not paid by them. So let's go check out this little starter situation I've found and see what I think about it, see what you think about it. I always love to hear what your thoughts are, and if you've ever done this method, definitely give me your honest feedback below, because I'm going to give you my honest feedback. And like I said, I ran some comparisons, so let's go check it out. I originally went on to Amazon looking for some of these little doodads, and these kind of had mixed reviews because they are pretty delicate. Like, I dropped one and went to catch it between my legs and I could have crushed it. Anybody's legs could, not just my big legs. Anyway, so I wanted some of these because even though I like planting in cups, it's difficult to get a start that's been in a solo cup down into a hay bale. So I got these with a thought that the majority of them would be for plants that I wanted to put into my next straw bale garden. And when I was looking for them, I stumbled upon these little they're called rapid rooters, and this is the little thing about that. So it's, it's good for soil or hydroponics, and they come 50 to a thing. So, and it was about $9. So I don't know, it might not end up being the most cost effective thing, but it's something I wanted to try. So basically you soak the plugs and then you plant in them, and the more perfect ones kind of have these little preset little holes in them already for your little seed. And I read, because I'm a review reader, so I read a lot of reviews about these, and it looks like, obviously there's some faux ones out there that people were displeased with. So one of the things that people talked about was moisture, because, let me move things around a little bit more. Because these come in this bag, but the way that they staple the little card onto the bag, I don't know if you can see, but so that creates holes in this bag, which then lets air get in. And when you touch these, they're really, they're kind of squishy, like a sponge already. Really squishy. So so some people complained that because they were dried out, they were just kind of crumbly and not easy to work with. So I took that to heart, because obviously I could see kind of this packaging flaw here. So I repackaged the bag into another Ziploc bag, and I obviously was building up quite a bit of moisture. I had it sitting here in my bedroom. So over time, I've had these, I don't know, you know me, I probably had them like 2 or 3 weeks, if not more. And so I opened this bag up completely, just because I don't want them to get moldy, but I do like that they're keeping moisture in there and hold moisture. So on down the line, I'll obviously give a much more detailed review on this, but this is where I'm at now. So I've got a stack of seeds that I want to get planted, and some of them are flowers. Not all of them are following what I said about going into the straw bale, but this is phase 1. So instead of because to me the instructions kind of make it seem like you soak them individually and then you put them in there, but like I said, they feel pretty moist. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill the tray up more than I would for like an actual watering of these, and because that's what these are going to go into a tray. So when I do that, I'm going to fill it up extra and get it to suck up the moisture from there, and see how it goes. Because like I said, they're really spongy and soft and wet-ish feeling now. I know some people don't like the word moist. So that's where we're at. I'm going to get these filled up, and then I'll kind of show you once I get them in the tray, and then we'll just kind of do little updates. And I'm also going to compare planting. I'm going to plant 6, I think I'm going to do broccoli. I'm going to do like 6 broccoli in these little rapid starters, and I'm going to do 6 a 6-pack of one of these with the seed starter, or really anymore, I just use the soil that I make as my seed starter. So I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison of those also in this tray. So one of these I'm going to reserve for the soil that I make, and see how these do, and see how it goes. And otherwise, I needed these anyway, and worst case scenario, I'm out $10 in the time it took me to plant these. So we'll catch it back up in a bit, and I'll show you what it looks like in my tray, and because I'm gonna have all kinds of stuff going on. Okay, so I ran out, so that's one thing to know, is that I'm not going to be able to do a full tray with the plugs. I'd have to have 2 bags if I like them. So, like I said, now I'm going to, since I have extra, I'm still going to do my side-by-side, like, say, these against each other. Same plant, same seeds, 2 different mediums, so to speak. I mean, these are basically like some kind of peat moss. And so then the rest of these will be soil. I'm probably, because I've got some flowers I'm about to do, I'll probably do those in here. And then I'm gonna put some sea kelp emulsion in here with water, obviously. And like I said, I'm gonna really soak the tray to get the things to really soak up, and then once they have really absorbed, then I'll plant. So that might end up being tomorrow, and I'm not going to take you through the planting process. I might show you how I do one, but it's going to be as simple as like putting it in there, and then you just kind of mash that. Or I've got 2 extra, and so what some people said they did is they just take a little piece off the side to cover up the hole. So I'm either going to do that with pinching off the 2 extra I have, or I'm going to just use a little bit of vermiculite. So I'll catch up with you soon. Here is a look at my little starter tray. So my middle row here, this is my own starter soil. Well, just the soil that I use. But so on the outside, these are the Rapid little plugs. Okay, so this one is kicking butt. This one, which is kohlrabi, pak choi, and a sprouting broccoli, is doing pretty good. This is Brussels sprouts, and it looks like there might be trying to be something right there. I don't know. This is a little slow. This Yod Fa is pretty good. Now, this was my side-by-side. This is a broccoli. Both of these trays are broccoli Waltham 29, and they actually pretty much sprouted identically. They both had, this cell and this cell had just like a bit of a turnover, and then the next day they popped up. Now on Saturday we had enough rain that I felt like I needed to bring my tray back under the patio, so that's caused a little bit of stretching. You can see over here we've got some good stretching going on. I've even got, now this is again in my soil that I've got some tomatoes coming up. The rest of what's here in the middle is flowers that I've planted, and so I don't really know if those were the best to have in this side-by-side-ish comparison. But these other plugs have some things coming up. There's kale, some mustard, golden acre cabbage, and then back there is that's whole 6 cell is asparagus. So that can be a slow kind of thing. I don't know. I've never done asparagus. So what I would say is I like the neatness, meaning like this is pretty tidy, the plugs, and when I put them in the tray, it was actually, obviously easier to get them to suck up the water from below. Something I will do from now on and what I did with these is I used my sea kelp, like seaweed kelp emulsion thing, as the thing that kind of got everything going. That's what I filled the tray up with first and soaked the mediums with, and I like that. I think that it responded I think that the seeds responded well because these really came up, like these 2 trays were up within 3 days of planting. So that's pretty great. So I like that they got moist faster. I like that they look uniform. You know, they're nice. I chose to just use a little bit of vermiculite to top off the places where I planted the seeds instead of like tearing off a piece of the plug to plug the hole. So that's kind of where it looks a little messy, is I just used a little bit of, like I said, vermiculite. So I like that it's uniform. I can see some drawbacks, obviously, like if it was January and we were, like, I'm starting these tomatoes just because I'm crazy. But if it was January and we were starting these tomatoes for our spring planting, starting them this way means that we'd have to move them up, move them up, move them up, move them up. So I think that these plugs could be real good for if you aren't going to spend very long in these, you know, and so we're not, especially because these brassicas are going to take a while to get somewhere. So like size wise, they're going to stay small for a little bit. They're kind of a slow growing once they sprout. So if it's something that's not going to need to stay in the tray for maybe more than a month and it's going to stay smallish, then I could see how the plugs would be a good thing. Not that you couldn't just pop the plugs out and put them into something, but I kind of like to reduce the number of times I'm going to move that root before I go to plant it. So that's one thing I would say. I'd also say that, you know, if you're in a situation where you don't have your own soil mix around, you're just starting out maybe, or maybe you're in a space where you can't even like keep, you know, like a big Rubbermaid thing of your soil around, then this could be a good deal for you. You know, this could be a good way to start for $9 for like 50 plugs. Now, with that having been said, when I do have ready made my soil around and it does just pretty well as the plugs, then I don't know if this is something that would be that cost effective for me in the long run. I think, again, there's some things that I might enjoy using these specifically for, but I don't see a dramatic difference between what's going on here and what's going on here in between the different mediums. And something might change with that, you know, before I go to plant them. And I'll update you on that. And I think this right here is just like a little bit of dampening. Maybe I'm just keeping it a little too wet. So I'll back off. Now, something I would like to show you or remind you, and this is a big piece and I really need to get a smaller piece out, but something about something really and truly with, I know all seasons we feel like our seedlings are under attack, but especially with brassicas, like, and with how active the moths are right now, you really want to cover up your brassicas with some tulle or something until they get quite a bit bigger, you know. I'd say as big as my hand, because then if they get some nibbles by the by a moth, it won't really bother them. So I'll give you an example. So this is, you know, this is a pepper plant, but down here, this must have had like an old pak choi seed in it. So this pak choi just sprouted on its own, and you can see that because of the time of year that we're in, a mama moth is just having a field day laying, like you can see them right there. See those? Like, here, I'll break it off. See those worms? So they're just having a field day on brassicas. So, and I don't mind because they're eating on this, they're not eating on the pepper. So, and this is, like I said, it sprouted on its own. It's basically a volunteer. But this is the proof and the reason of why we want to keep our young brassicas covered up for a little while till because see, it can barely make leaves fast enough to keep up with the worms. Now, of course, I could come out here and be picking them off, but when you get a bunch of brassicas growing, you know, especially baby ones, then you'll be battling a lot there. So a way to avoid that battle is just cover them up for a while. And I like using these taller popsicle sticks, if you will, because it gives me a good tint for the tool. And I'm gonna find a smaller piece because I really don't like having 2 layers here, because I just want it to breathe good. So that is my review. Would I do it again? Perhaps for certain applications, but overall I think for, you know, already having my soil around, unless I can see some considerable differences as we go along for these two, that this might not be the most cost-effective thing for me. But like I said, it could be, especially if you're in a situation, like I said, where maybe you're in an apartment and you don't have a place to store soil, you're just kind of starting out. This could be an effective way for you to dip your feet into maybe starting some seeds. We'll check up on this in a week or two and see how the competition goes, and if there's any further updates that I can offer. Well, I hope you had a good time learning about the little rapid starters, and I hope that you are having as much fun as me. See, now it feels like I just got tagged and I still got my bracelet on. I hope you're having as much fun as me watching your trays come together. I actually can't wait to plant another tray. So I think I'll either do that today or I'll do that tomorrow. Then that way the trays will be just about a week apart. So have the best day ever, and thanks so much for stopping by whenever you get a chance.